One might wonder, why would any of us who works hard all day long fight our way through traffic just for the privilege of sitting in a car in a drive-thru to pay for bad food? Not on this show. You've just walked into The Man's Kitchen.
Thank you.
Today on The Man's Kitchen, we're making up the most scrumptious, mouth-watering sirloin steak, seasoned with sea salt and pepper. Why don't you come join us? Hey guys, welcome to The Man's Kitchen. Today we're going to cook sirloin steak. Now, this is not just any regular steak we're going to cook. We're going to butterfly this steak first. When you hear butterfly with a shrimp or with a steak, with a chicken, we're going to cut it in the middle, but not all the way through, and butterfly it, and then we fry it that way. We're going to need 3 ingredients for this, nothing fancy. We're going to use some sea salt. We're going to use some extra virgin olive oil and a medium-high skillet, which I already have right there. Some pepper. That's all you need. We'll top it with 1 dollop of butter. Steaks really taste good with butter. Okay, so that's almost where I want it. Turn it up a little bit higher, and we'll go ahead and butterfly this steak. So what you need to do is we'll take the steak, we grasp it like this, keep your hands safe, find the middle of that steak, and we'll just slice through from one half to the next. If you want to, you can leave it on a flat cutting surface, or like this plate. You said just go back and forth, watching your hands. When you butterfly a steak like that, you make it cook even faster. Now, I could go all the way through and make it 2 steaks out of 1, but this is convenient. It's classy. You know, this channel, we always try to do something classy. Why? Because you deserve the best. Okay, so that's butterfly that steak. It'll cook much quicker that way. Okay, let me wash my hands. Did you miss me? Okay, so what we're gonna do, we can test it out a little bit. We'll go ahead and pepper that. Plenty of pepper makes steak taste good. We'll go ahead and put some sea salt on that. Now, it doesn't take a lot of sea salt, so you'll see me getting some of it off there. I can actually use some of that on another side. But that's all the seasoning you need right there. And so we'll test that a little bit in the pan to make sure it's ready. You can hear that oil sizzle. Bring it with some medium-high heat. We're going to sear that. Love that sound? Red meat cooking. Okay. So sirloin steak is towards the rump of the cow. You have a top sirloin and a lower sirloin. When it says top sirloin, it means the top meat on his butt, and then the lower sirloin is the meat on his lower part of his butt. Okay, what you want to do, it's up to you. Some people prefer their meat medium rare, some people prefer it rare, some people prefer it done, some people prefer it well done, some people prefer it right off the cow, just bloody. But I do not. I'll take anywhere from a medium rare to done. So we're going to sear that, and you notice I'll leave it down. Leave the first side down first until it gets to sear. You don't want to get in the habit of flipping that steak. You irritate it, it won't do what it's supposed to. But it always makes you want to turn it over. Oh, now it looks like I turn it over. Now, anytime you get some steak like that, you can always get something a lid when you're covering particular meat, but don't try to cover a steak like that with a glass because you end up making it a water steak. It'll thicken up with the moisture, it makes it tight. If you had a brick or whatever you want to put on there, like a heavy weight, metal weight, you can cook it that way. Okay, let's take a look. Look at the back side. Looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and put a little more oil into that. Now, if that pops, let it pop. Let it do what it's going to do. That steak will cook itself, but that is the most juicy meat. The sirloin's the most juicy meat, as long as you don't overcook it and try to make it shoe leather. You can add a little weight to it, like I said. If you didn't have anything but a dish, let's say the only thing you had in the house to use was a plate. You didn't have a weight. You put it right on there just like that, just to mimic it like we do in the restaurant. And that will help that heat go through that meat and cook it a little bit faster. And the faster you get to a sear, the faster you can hold in that flavor, prevent it from cooking out. So we're not trying to make shoe leather. Now that plate is not hot till it touch that way, and that's a thick plate. When that plate is hot, I don't want to take it off that way. I could always use a glove or use a towel. Safety first. Okay, so we remove that. We'll bring our breast cousin over there. And remove that. We'll take this trusty knife. We don't need that weight anymore, and that plate's still not hot yet. We can go ahead and turn that heat down a little bit because she's doing pretty good. And I might want to flip it again one more time. Now in a restaurant, we could test it with our knuckle and watch how it bounces back in the center. That tells us whether it's rare, medium rare, or well done. What you could do, another trick, you take a knife, as long as you don't go through the entire pan, and just touch it and see if there's any juices come to the surface or blood. If the juices come out clear, it's done. If you want just a regular done steak. If the juices come out bloody, that's medium rare. Okay, so it's a little bit red that came out there. So I try another location. Steak's pretty good at this point. I try to overdo it. Give it one more turn. This afternoon, we're going to have that with some mashed potatoes. And those have already been pre-made. I know you guys don't need a class on that. Okay, at this point, I actually have the actual fire is off because I don't need the fire anymore. It's just finishing that sear on both sides and making sure that it's done. Okay, now that works for me. You take her off the fire. Go ahead and give it a slice. Nice and juicy, just like I like it. Now that's one nice piece of meat there. Mouth-watering. The salt. It's farm-raised beef. You can get that on Amazon anywhere. You go specifically for farm raised, where they're like free range with the cows and not just feed them inside of a bin. But just a simple salt, the pepper, a bit of butter, middle on top. If you wanted to, you could have put like garlic on them. If you wanted to, you cook some mushrooms, you saute them. That same oil, you can saute your mushrooms in, or you can saute some onions, because it's best to let that steak sit about 5 minutes to rest before you start to cut into it. That way that finishes what it's going to do. It's much tastier. I can actually swallow that as is. It's good. It's so soft, you don't really need to chew it. So, I thank you for tuning into the New Man's Kitchen. Now that these shows are separated from the man's kitchen, to the man's bartender, to Killer Wives, to the early morning show, come back and see us again next week, because we're only on this particular show once a week. And next week we're going to bring you something real good to eat. Join us then. I'm going to finish this steak.